Okay, let's talk about something that can feel a little scary: poisoning. But this explainer isn't about being alarmed, it's about being empowered. We're going to break down the essentials of first aid into a really clear, actionable guide. The goal here is to be prepared, not scared. So let's dive in. Let's just start with a number: 4,002. What is that? Well, that's how many people had symptomatic poisonings from just one type of pesticide in a single year. So yeah, this isn't some far-off theoretical risk. This is a real-world number that shows exactly why being prepared matters so much. And that really brings us to this core idea, which our source material puts perfectly. Prevention remains a much surer path than treatment. So while we're going to spend this time talking all about first aid, let's just remember that the best possible strategy is always prevention. All right, so where is all this risk even coming from? You might picture, a giant farm or a factory, but honestly, you'd be surprised. A lot of these dangers are actually hiding in plain sight and stuff we use every single day at home and at work. Take a look at this. This list kind of flips the script on what we think is dangerous. Sure, organophosphates are number one, but look at what's hot on its heels. Pyrethrins, that's in a ton of common bug sprays, and even everyday things like pine oil and disinfectants. The fact that these are so high on the list just shows how often we come into contact with them, right in our own homes. Okay, so let's get into our first aid playbook. And we're starting with preparation. This is all the stuff you need to do before anything goes wrong. Because trust me, when every second counts, the work you do now is what's going to make all the difference. Your first line of defense, it's this: a well-stocked, easy-to-grab first aid kit. And I don't mean just any old box of bandages. We're talking about one that's specifically set up for a poisoning emergency. And seriously, make sure everyone, your family, your coworkers, knows exactly where it is. So what needs to be in there? Well, the essentials are pretty simple, really. You need plenty of clean water and some soap. That's for washing skin. A dedicated eye wash bottle is a must for flushing out eyes. Some disposable rubber gloves, super important to protect you, the person helping. A clean change of clothes, you gotta get the contaminated stuff off fast. And of course, a list of emergency phone numbers. But out of all those things, there's one piece of information that is hands down the most important. Any guesses? It's this one: the National Poison Control Center hotline, 1-800-222-1222. Seriously, take a second right now and save this number in your phone, and then go write it down and stick it in your first aid kit. It is a completely free 24/7 lifeline to experts who know exactly what to do. All right, you're prepared. You've got your kit, you've got the number. So the next piece of the puzzle is knowing when to actually use them. How can you spot the warning signs that something's wrong? First, it's really important to know there are two kinds of effects. You've got delayed effects, which can show up way later: days, weeks, even years down the road. But for first aid, what we're focused on are the acute effects. These are the signs that pop up right away, or at least within 24 hours. And they're the ones that scream, act now. Let's take a look at a really common but super sneaky danger: carbon monoxide, or CO. You've got a risk of this anytime you're using something with a gasoline engine. Think pressure washers, generators, that kind of thing, especially if you're in or near an enclosed space. The real danger here is that the symptoms look a lot like something else, like the flu. And that's why context is everything. If you or someone you're with starts feeling these things, headache, dizzy, nauseous, and there's been a gas engine running nearby, don't just write it off as the flu. Your first thought should be carbon monoxide. Get to fresh air immediately and call for help. Okay, now let's circle back to that number one cause from our list earlier: organophosphates. These are in a lot of common insecticides. And here's the thing: because they all affect the body in a similar way, a bunch of small exposures can actually add up and cause some really serious problems. So first, the symptoms might seem familiar. Headache, nausea, dizziness, kind of like with CO poisoning. But here are the dead giveaways to watch for. You'll see a lot more sweating and salivating, maybe some muscle twitching, and even blurred or dark vision. If you see those signs, those are major red flags for this specific kind of poisoning. Okay, you're prepped.
You've spotted the signs, now what? What do you actually do? This is the most critical part of our playbook, how you respond with immediate first aid. What you do in these first few moments can literally be life-saving.
All right, if the poison is on the skin, your one and only goal is to decontaminate. Step 1, get those contaminated clothes off right away. And this is so important. If you're the one helping, put on those rubber gloves from your kit first. Then wash the person's skin with soap and just tons of water. Once you've done that, it's time to get medical help.
Now, for poison in the eyes, you have to be fast and you have to be thorough. You're going to hold the eyelids open and start flushing the eye right away with a gentle stream of clean, lukewarm water. And listen, this isn't just a quick splash. You need to keep washing for at least 15 minutes. No joke. That's how long it can take to really get the chemical out. And this is exactly why having an eye wash bottle is so incredibly useful. It gives you that gentle, controlled stream you need. Trying to do this with a high-pressure faucet could actually make things worse and damage the eye. So yeah, having the right tool for the job is key.
Okay, what if a poison is swallowed? The rules here are different, and maybe not what you'd expect. First thing, if you can, grab the product label and see if it has specific instructions. Then, your very next move is to call that number you saved, the Poison Control Center. And please, listen to this next part very carefully. Do not make the person vomit unless a medical expert on the phone tells you to. With certain chemicals, throwing up can cause way more damage on the way back up. Calling for expert help is the absolute most important thing you can do here.
So, we've walked through how to prepare, how to recognize the signs, and how to respond. But now I want to bring it all the way back to that quote from the beginning. Because the most powerful tool you have isn't in a first aid kit. It's what you do before you even open the product. And here it is. The single biggest takeaway from all of this. Just read and follow the label. It's that simple. The label tells you exactly what gear you need to wear, how to use the product safely, and what to do if something goes wrong. It is your #1 prevention tool. Period. We've covered a ton of information, I know, but getting prepared doesn't have to be overwhelming. It really just starts with one small step. So I'll leave you with this question. What's the one thing you can do today to be more prepared? Are you going to save that phone number? Go check your first aid kit, or maybe just make a promise to yourself to always read the label first. Just picking one of those things makes you and everyone around you that much safer.